Hi, this is Cindy.
And Michael.
From Part-Time Permies. And hi, Rose. We're in a small group at the moment because... And Bella is down here chatting as well, apparently. So I got to adjust my screen a little, I realize. Bella.
Tina's here.
Hi, Tina. How are you guys? I hope everyone's having a happy Valentine's Day. Our sound seems to be a little bit loud. Sorry. I'll adjust that. Okay. You guys can hear us okay? I just turned our volume down a little bit. It was way in the red. Hello, Rebel Canners. And... okay.
You're in your mouth.
Yes. Bella has been very much enjoying some brie cheese tonight and some chocolate covered strawberries earlier. So she keeps asking for more cheese and she signs more.
The grocery store.
Yeah.
I found small wheels of brie cheese for $3.97 a day or two ago. They were I was like, that looks like a cheap price. It's actually extremely cheap, probably their cost.
Yeah.
They are supposed to expire on, no, they're supposed to hit their sell-by date on the 17th. Of course, it's cheese, so it's only starting to get good at that point. And they were selling them at cost, so I happened to snag one. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And it's definitely not bad at all.
No, it's good. It's definitely good. Okay, and she is going to finish up this cheese, I think.
No power, no water.
Oh, no. Oh, no, Carrie, what happened? 37 left.
I heard all of Dallas is out of power. Not that you're near Dallas, but is that affecting you? I just saw a headline at the end.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see why.
Yeah. We definitely have power, and that's a good thing because it's cold outside.
And Miranda's here.
Hi, Miranda.
Don't be late to work. Staying up late.
This girl is wound up. So I apologize. We're going to be distracted a bit. But since we're still gaining people into the room and we have south is frozen.
Yeah, north has been frozen for about 2 weeks. Took a while to get here, but we've got a foot of snow and it's been mostly in the middle upper teens for the last couple of weeks, most of the day, and even colder at night.
Yeah. So I'm going to appease Bella's grandma for a couple minutes here, and probably Miranda as well as maybe a couple other people. So Bella time, in other words.
Well, Rose has a young one too.
Yeah, Rose has a young one. So we're going to do some Bella pictures for grandma who hasn't seen her in a while. But she loves her Bella Vita crackers. But she does not love her bows in her hair, which she had for about 2 minutes before this, during this picture. And we have Bella eating and trying lots of things. This is actually her second time eating falafels from Jerusalem Gardens. And she loves them.
Some of the best falafels in the state.
Yep. But she's been eating lots of things. I forget what this was. I think it's just a sandwich, and she was doing it herself. Yes, thank you, Bella.
I can't see it close enough to
tell you. I made it, so it's, I think, just a PB&J sandwich and sliced apples. And she, as you saw a moment ago, get this switched, loves her cheese. This is more yummy cheese, except it's expensive cheese that she's eating. That's Zingerman's cheese.
Well, it's somebody else's cheese that they were selling.
Yes, but Zingerman's is
a vendor
of and high-end stuff. And this you should recognize. Homemade fries. I don't think she ate the fish and broccoli. Remember that meal?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
We've had some smelt, some UP smelt and hand-cut fries.
Mike, you have a question from Tina.
Yes, you can. And there are people that make primarily chickpea flour. It's pretty good because it's high protein and has a pretty good flavor and chew. I believe Bonza brand, their primary is chickpea flour. We have messed with it a little bit. In fact, we're looking at some no wheat. off and on, and keep being too busy to work on it after like 2 years. And we've decided that we primarily want to work with a chickpea flour base. So it's a decent it's a decent substitute, not perfect, but definitely workable.
Yep. And I'm being handed things. Sorry. Okay. I do have a better picture of the fries, by the way.
We put a little bit of sea salt and fresh cracked pepper and truffle oil and a little bit of herbs and little pecorino cheese on it.
And actually made them golden, unlike a lot of...
Yeah, fries are supposed to be cooked dark, especially if they aren't coated and they're hand cut. The only way to have them crispy is to double cook them and make them dark.
Yeah. This was something I think Miranda caught on picture. This was Bella's nap time.
I think it must have been me because you would have had to get the...
I think she sent me the picture.
Oh.
So
you have to get the photo.
I downloaded it from chat. Okay. And somebody wants more cheese. You're out of cheese. Dog. Yes.
Her cheese is on the floor.
Oh, boy. Okay. So, yes, Dog joined Bella for nap time. The one time. She hasn't really done it since then. Although she's wanted to go on her bed at nighttime. But she's on the couch right now behind Mike. Do you see yourself, Bella? Does that make it better? And Dog usually sleeps here, which is on the bottom bunk of a bunk bed in Bella's room. But Bella sleeps on the mattress on the floor right now until she gets big enough to sleep on the bed. And Puddin's cuddled up with the horse. And it's really hard to hit a mouse when you have a wiggly baby in your hand. Yeah. We have another picture that hit Instagram. Well, no, this one didn't hit Instagram, but another version of it. Our friend Nabi came to sit one day.
Guest babysitter.
Guest babysitter. And had fun playing with... Wow. Playing with Bella's hair. I might have to get up and move. But Bella had, I think, 5 or 6 ponytail holders there.
Nabi said she was turning her into a little Korean girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a babysitter that was feeling ill for a little bit and for a couple of days and ended up with the flu. And I had run into Nabi and said, "Hey, she just come back in town and said, you want to stop by and help out for a day?" And she said she'd really like to, so she hung out. So yeah, that was a little while ago, earlier in the month. So I don't know. What else do you have set up, Cindy?
I'm sorry. You need to run through the left side of that.
Just going down the list?
I was just going down the list. So, Bibimbap Bonfire with our friend Nabi.
And then, about 2 Sundays ago, we got a call in the later afternoon.
I think that was last Sunday.
No, it wasn't. It was 2 weeks ago.
Was it 2 weeks ago?
Yes,
Yeah,
it was 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
We were here. Last Sunday was Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah, I went to Ann Arbor last Sunday.
So 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
So Nabi had called us up and said she wanted to go play in the snow and had made a fire out at the farm and was making bibimbap and Korean sweet potatoes in the fire. Did we want to come out? And we were like, okay. And she said she was doing it like right then. So we drove out an hour later to the farm and hung out for an hour or two in the snow and had quite a yummy dinner of bibimbap and Korean sweet potatoes for dessert and hanging out in the fire pit. And Louis, the farmer, thought we were crazy. So, but he came out to have some dinner. It was cold, although it's gotten a lot colder since then, the last 2 weeks since then. Yeah. So that was fun. Wild ramp seeds, yeah, absolutely. Ramps take quite a while to develop if you go from seeds, 2 to 3 years. You really can't mess with them until they start splitting and growing. You can transplant them also, but seeds can be done for sure, just like onions. Wet. They love the wet and shady and, well, semi-shady and leaf.
They're pretty shady.
And they like sand. They like fairly drained, sandy soil, even though they like to be wet. But yeah, we get tons of ramps that grow wild. Not so much on our property because we're a little drier, but we have transplanted some selectively. But they grow really well around here, just fields of them. We've had lots of snow.
Yeah, but Nobby took her sledding.
Oh, yeah, that was from the campfire. And, yeah.
And we had the snowball fight there, too.
Yep, and then Cindy had a mini snowball fight because Navi wanted to have a snowball fight. And that's, let's see here. Up back to the Louis the Farmer's over there in the sledding. Pawpaw seeds. Rose, you know that pawpaw seeds have to be kept moist.
And cold.
You'll have a 90% loss of seed germination if they are not put into soil or kept moist in a bag within, I think, 4 hours.
And in the refrigerator.
And they need to go through a cold period in the refrigerator. So they are quite difficult to grow from seeds. And you need to be... What? Yep. And you need to be very attentive to how you handle a pawpaw and how you compost the seeds.
Probably sure.
However, in a pawpaw forest, there will be lots of seedlings because they do spread and they seed. So you can cut those. They're still a little sensitive to transplant, but much easier. It's probably preferred to transplant than to seed. But you can seed. It's just if you get a really low yield or it doesn't work. It was probably you, but it was everybody else also. So that's... the other thing we did that was kind of neat,
yeah,
we made a giant tincture. We did about a 3-day steep and tincture of a whole bunch of reishi. Actually, it was about 12 or 15 things. But Nabi had gone up to the UP for a week to go reishi and chaga hunting. And she came back with a pretty good haul. It grows pervasively, about 5 hours. When you hit about 5 hours on north, it's pretty pervasive. So in here we have, and there we had reishi, chaga that was quite fresh. We also had some turkey tail and some pheasant back that we had dried from earlier in the season. There's a little bit of dried maitake from either this year or last year, and then we added some herbs to it, and we actually put water in it.
I think there was cardamom.
Black
turmeric, black cardamom, turmeric, pepper,
black pepper. What else did I put in there?
Was there any cinnamon in that one?
There was cinnamon sticks. There's a little bit of angelica, although angelica gives kind of a skunky bitterness, so I'm not sure. And angelica isn't as active of a compound. So we put all that in the crock pot, put it on low. Actually put some vodka in there to begin a little bit of a tincturing where you could do an extraction between the water phase and the alcohol phase. And then we ended up doing pulling that off 4 times over about 3 days, and then chilling it each time and combining all 4 of the batches together and putting it into canning jars and holding it refrigerated so that we can have it for the long haul. Let's see here. So
why
Miracle Whip? Yeah, I'm not a Miracle Whip fan. That's Bill. I don't like Miracle Whip. My mom's in the room. She loves it. I have, you know what? It's too sweet for me because it's a salad. It's a salad dressing base, and it's fine, but I don't care for it. Made some tuna salad tonight. We made some just turkey and mayonnaise and such. We did use mayonnaise on that one also. Yeah, I have always been an adamant mayo, not Miracle Whip fan from a young kid, but we kept both at home because my mom likes Miracle Whip and my dad prefers mayo.
I will have to be back Somebody is soaked through.
Okay. You didn't change her before?
I did. She
Oh.
soaked through good.
She's
Sorry,
so,
guys.
so squirmy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we did this really nice extraction. We got quite a bit off of it. It's a dark, fairly dark flavors. Not exactly like espresso, but not too different from that. So we do little shots, like a little ounce shot of that. I think Cindy's been doing them in the morning, and I have one every couple of days. So it's supposed to be for general good health and cold weather and cold and flu season. No idea if it helps with COVID. Probably doesn't. It might. But it's generally supposed to be good for your. I tried to make mayo, but didn't like it. Well, mayo can be made with vinegar or lemon juice. The type of oil can make a big difference in the flavor. Of course, it has egg yolks in it. So it's egg yolks, oil, salt, sometimes a touch of pepper, some acidifying ingredient. Sometimes it has a little powdered mustard in it. It's slightly different in flavor, I guess, than our commercial mayonnaise, but I find it quite nice. A lot of times you put fresh garlic in it, and in the Netherlands they call it, I think, knofel sauce or something. Cindy can tell you. They dip their fries in it. Called aioli in France, and it's quite nice, but a little bit different. But yeah, try playing with your light spices. Extra virgin olive oil. One, it's probably a little more expensive than you need. Extra virgin olive oil is quite strong. You can make a olive oil mayonnaise, but it will taste very olive oily, but it may also get a little bitter. So I would use only half or a third olive oil, and I would stir that in the end. The other thing I would do is, don't do it in a high-powered mixer, or well, you could do it in like a rotating mixer, but don't do it in like a hand hand immersion blender or a blender, because if you shear certain oils at high speed, you can sometimes make them bitter. But olive oil, depending on what type of olive oil, and strong olive oils frequently do not make a very good mayonnaise. Use a more neutral oil. Use a blended vegetable oil, corn oil, canola oil. They're all fine. Grapeseed oil gets kind of funny. Some will take on a little more oil to yolk, but use just kind of a neutral oil. Yeah. Yeah, so be careful with, it's like cooking eggs in olive oil, cooking an omelet in olive oil. They do that a lot in Italy, but it may also be more like a pure olive oil, which has a lower flavor profile than a extra virgin. Yeah, cooking eggs in the morning with olive oil, it's really healthy, but you got to be ready for it. And sometimes your brain and body isn't ready for extra virgin olive oil when you get up. But yeah, neutral oil is the key. Just use whatever jar of oil you have laying around, and you can use some healthier ones. But some people make it with avocado oil. Even when somebody like commercial companies say they blend olive oil into their mayonnaise, they're using a pure refined olive oil, so it's got very little flavor. It's actually a low cost, lower quality olive oil. So, yeah. But that's an interesting question. But try putting some garlic, mashing some garlic really fine in there, and making garlic mayonnaise. That can be really tasty. It's put on French fries. People put it on like toast and seafood soups, like bouillabaisse. Sometimes they put saffron in it. Kind of expensive, but saffron aioli goes on a toast crisp in traditional bouillabaisse, and many other things. So yeah. What else? So we did the mushroom extraction. We're working on that. We are starting to get eggs again. We went for most of December with like no eggs. We have some new layers. So you got some new layers, the little guys. You got some big layers. Those are the ones that are previously older, second years. And we got some medium size. We're getting probably 2 to 3 eggs a day right now. It's still really low. It's cold and still kind of dark, but they'll come back. We've been buying a lot of eggs, buying a couple dozen eggs from a friend at the market for the moment. So, see you later, Rose. Nice to have you check in with us. How many of you saw the Rhodes premiere? Another topic. Saw the Rhodes premiere tonight. They have a little segmented TV movie thing that they debuted tonight. Cindy helped moderate that. I think there about 15,000 people on watching the first short episode run, and then or the preview run, and then they crashed their website. Not the video watching, but their regular website crashed. So they're opening that up, I believe, to their member porthole, which is a purchasable, but everything comes with it, including this new content. So that was kind of interesting. And yeah, we got a text this evening, could Cindy moderate? And so she did that. So they're working with a feature film group to document and then craft storylines to match things related to their history of their homesteading. The people that did their permaculture chicken video are doing that. So that's their new venture, and I believe it's going to be heading to YouTube possibly, but they're going to get episodes up and running first on their website, and I think then they're trying to possibly move it towards a YouTube platform. And it gave a little bit of history going back to the beginning of stuff. So that's interesting. Looking if we missed things here. Yeah, we got lifetime premium membership also. We got it when it first came out. I think we might have been comped or gifted it, actually. I can't remember if we might have paid for it too. It's very possible. But I know we were doing some projects with them. I think we might have been given it, and we might have bought it first, an opportunity because of the butchering work and things that I've been doing. I was doing a couple of years with them. So yeah, we are a lifetime premium member and check in there now and then. Although we've been so busy, we haven't been following too much. Big thing going on for me is winter market. We have been outside at our usual winter market inside of Bingo Hall, which is across from the regular municipal farmers market. But that is that's because that building is closed because they're not holding bingo and they don't keep it heated, and so we're doing it outside. And we got about a dozen vendors. And last week was super cold. This week was a little bit cold. We were in near single digits starting and not much above that when we finished. But we're doing 8 a.m. till noon, selling at the with the permission of the owner. Right, and we're getting pretty good turnout. We're actually getting very good turnout. Making food available in a convenient and non-indoor environment. So we have eggs and cheese, a variety of meats and Great Lakes fish and sausage, and one of the best bakeries in town, which does bread and pastries. We have a popcorn person. We have a tamale person. We have another kind of couple small, very small farm vendors that still have some apples and some winter hold stuff and some animal feed. We have a super egg guy. Who else? There is another big produce farm, and we have another meat guy, and we have a big poultry farm. So it's pretty good for pretty good pickings for winter. And of course, I got all the pasta and sauces and things. So people are really supporting that. It's been helpful. We're getting used to the cold. We're shoveling it out and plowing it out as needed. And that picture, it was we hadn't seen much snow yet, so that must have been a few weeks ago, because we've had snow on the ground for most of the month now, and we've got about a foot. So yeah. Yeah, I do get the same spot every week. Typically we try and get the same spots, so we know where to set up, and it prevents chaos. Sometimes when there's, like last week, it was so cold, we were missing 3 or 4 people, so we condensed everything down. We might have been missing 6 people. We condensed things down just to be a little more convenient. I actually brought a propane heater out for the first and maybe only time. I really try not to do that, but a lot of vendors in the fall, when it gets cold, they got their propane heaters out, and we're like, come on. Now, the produce guys, I get it, because it gets so cold that the produce freezes and it's trash. They can't bring it back, or it's frozen before they sell it. So they put some propane heat into tents to try and hold their produce. But yeah, so that's been working pretty good. Um, what else?
You can scroll down a little bit.
Oh, we got some food stuff.
Yeah.
We featured this on our website. We're playing around. This is red wine and cocoa pasta. It actually has a little bit of dehydrated beet in it too, to help the flavor and color. I offered this a year ago. None of my commercial accounts jumped on it.
For the restaurants.
Yeah, I made it to show them. Made a nice little promo sheet on how it could be used. Nobody inquired about it. We didn't make any more. Nobody bought it. It's kind of adventurous, but this was a plate that we made as part of the demo. So it's a seared cod, just some Brussels sprouts and tomatoes, and then we've got a nice buttered cocoa pasta. Hi, Helix. So we did that, and I'm just looking at what else we got on the list.
The chef.
Just looking at.
I didn't know what this picture was. I actually saw it in the list of pictures over the last month, and I was like,
Oh, that's getting ready for catering.
I was like, there seem to be a bunch of sauces going on here.
Yeah, so that's a tomato. I didn't even know. Yeah, I guess we took that one. That's tomato sauce and Alfredo sauce and Marsala sauce and garlic sauce. I had a small private catering last month. January catering, can you imagine? It was for a small office group. And so that was part of the process of getting everything ready in the morning to load it up and send it over to them for lunch. So,
Which one? You want up?
Tina got stuck in New Jersey.
And the nor'easter.
Yeah, we did not get the nor'easter. We missed most of that. We've been clipped a number of times. A lot of the stuff is running south of us. Like Indianapolis is getting hit harder than we are, although I
think we got about 4 inches on that storm that joined the storm that came up.
Yeah, we got 4 inches, but we didn't get the 18 that Pennsylvania got. So we keep getting clipped, and it's just the lower part. So we're catching the lake effect in the lower Michigan, but up north they're getting even less. Marsala sauce is based on Marsala wine, which is a traditional, more southern Italian wine. And it's traditionally made with mushrooms so Marsala is a type of grape wine or fortified wine. It's usually about 16% alcohol, and it is stored in a way similar to like sherry, or it's like similar to sherry or port, more similar to sherry. Because of the heating conditions in the south, it actually oxidizes, which gives it a nutty or sort of almondy, nutty, oxidized flavor. And that's typically a sign of a badly stored, ruined glass of wine. However, Marsala, that's common, and it is mostly used for cooking and fortifying gravies and sauces. However, sweet or dry Marsala can be consumed after dinner as part of a dessert beverage. It goes really nice with biscuity things like biscotti or almond or nut cookies. So it can be served as it's just a little sipping glass. You don't drink a big glass, it's a few sips. But traditional Marsala sauce is usually made either with veal or chicken, could be rabbit or something. It's usually a white mild meat, and most often it is with sauteed mushrooms, and then you build a demi or a gravy that is lightly brown from drippings from that item, either made in the sauce or prepared earlier, and fortified with the Marsala wine. So it's nice. It's pretty approachable, and Marsala is cheap. A bottle of Marsala is, I don't know, between $10 and $15 for a bottle of Marsala, and cooking Marsala is fine. Just don't buy the cooking Marsala that says cooking Marsala, salt added, all that. It's junk. It's water with almost no flavor and a whole lot of salt. Go to the wine store and ask for Marsala and buy up. And the American Marsala and the New York stuff is fine. It's maybe not as good as the Italian. You can also swap sherry. It's a little different, but a Spanish sherry wine could also be used. I would use a dry sherry or a sweet sherry. The cream sherry, like Bristol cream sherry that people sometimes drink after dinner, I would probably avoid that. That's a little bit different product. It wouldn't be the best option, but you could probably use it. So yeah, marsala sauce, really nice. What else did we have here? So we did the catering. Oh, this was last night. Sorry, I didn't flip the screen back. This is lobster fra diavolo. We were doing a demo and some photo shoots last night after market. This will be a video that will be out, I don't know when Cindy gets it edited, probably in the next hopefully few days or week. It will be going on our pasta website. It's a work project, but we will cross-link it to Part-Time Permies, and we actually did 2 intros so that we can use it as part of Part-Time Permies, but it'll be kind of the same video.
Yeah, what's in that?
Yeah, so Fra Diavolo means of the devil, and it's spicy. It's typically made with either cayenne or hot chili flake. We use Calabrese hot chili flake, and it's tomato based, so it's you can just use your preferred marinara sauce that you make or buy, and you can add things like a little toasted garlic and hot chili flake, and then I like to add some other herbs to it. I also use a little white wine and brandy. I flambe brandy with it. And you keep hanging into me.
Sorry.
So I flambe brandy. So it's got the brandy flavors, the tomato flavors, the garlic and herbs, shallots, and then the spice. And then we add a bunch of butter and olive oil and stuff to it to kind of round it all out. This has lobster in it, which is common. You could also use shrimp or scallops or other seafood. And so it all started, I was walking through Aldi's about 2 or 3 weeks ago. They had whole 18-ounce lobsters, flash frozen raw for $9.99 a piece, not even a pound a piece, which is a pretty good price. So I snagged 2 of them, and frozen lobster isn't a phenomenal product, but it's a lot better than frozen previously cooked lobster. And so I said, I'll take a gamble. We can do Fra Diavolo. It's a good excuse. We'll take those. And I'll run a demo, and I'm sure they were putting them in running them pre-Valentine's Day, so we ended up making it last night as a Valentine's Day, but it was really work. It was all convenient, and so we used bucatini with that. We showed how to take apart a lobster after it was cooked, and then present it, and some options we did present for show, some of the body with the meat removed. And the tentacles, which could be removed, which would be taken out, and then the chunks of lobster already in there, so it's easier to eat. So is our chat still running? I'm just checking. Or
just double check it because it's been about 5 minutes.
That's all right. If you're not saying anything, that's fine. If you're all excited about lobster Fra Diavolo or such, yeah. So that's lobster Fra Diavolo. We'll have a live edited cooking video if you want to make it at home. It's part of our Cooking Like a Chef at Home series, and it's very doable. And you don't have to use lobster if you don't like it or you don't have it available. We don't have good sources of lobster here, or this was kind of a value buy, so we jumped on it.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna switch back here real quick. Baby is fussy. Sorry, it's too late for her. But
well, you can make it for him. Tina, I am sure that you can pull this one off. And I think you got some pasta there, even if you don't have bucatini. I think you can use some pasta and it will come out. Yeah, crawfish should be fine.
Yeah.
Crawfish, shrimp, whatever your preferred is, it would be fine. You could do chicken, but I think seafood's a better flavor for this. Yeah, you could totally do crawfish. Make it as spicy as you like. You kind of Cajun it up.
The next one is actually a flashback to our foraging videos and such that we've touched on a few things. We're going to do a quiz, which gives you a, I guess, chance to win 2 bags of pasta, and you have some new things.
Well, I have a little bit of einkorn, which is a predecessor, technically a wheat, but an early predecessor to modern wheat, and it's sort of a whole wheat style. So I have some einkorn, very limited bags, because I only had a small amount, and the mill is shut down that was producing it for us for the moment, to be determined when they reopen. So I could send that out. I also just produced our first batches of Michigan duck egg pasta that we make every year in the winter, starting somewhere around this time. So Michigan duck egg, I have just a little bit available. We should be getting more eggs and continuing that onward into the early spring. So those are 2 feature items, and they could be available if you want either one or both of those.
Yep. So the question will be for someone to identify this next that should be able to identify it. The first person who gets it correct in our live chat will win the pasta. Sorry, 2 bags of your choice, including either of our new ones. So the next picture is what you're going to try to identify, and ignore the baby chat. Here it comes, and I do have a clue picture if you can't get it from this, but anybody, there are 9 people in the room. Anybody can win it. Okay, Bella, you want the cheese? No, you want the water?
It's probably a little harder to identify it snow-covered.
It is a little bit harder. Anybody got guesses?
Typically or are we found in snow-covered areas.
Are we have a little bit of a delay, so.
Yep.
We do have a good connection, it looks like, though.
Sorrel, no.
Nope.
Sorrel is generally much smaller. This is
and leafy.
This is tree form. This is not a close-up for an herb. This is a tree. Snow. Yes.
It's under snow, but what's the plant? More water? No. This is empty. This is banana. Banana.
So what's your other one?
Okay. Next clue. Hold on. I gotta find it. And here's the next clue. It has little dark berries, dark blue.
Well, those are extremely small. Those are
these
not great specimens.
Hey, Bella. She's gonna go back to her.
That's almost harder.
I don't know. It has little black berries. You use the berries, not the leaves.
The question is, what plant is that, or what type of tree?
Yeah. What is the tree? What is the tree? And I could give you one more clue if nobody has any guesses on this. Oh, somebody's fussy. You can make gin out of it. Or people do make gin out of it. I might have to chase a toddler in a minute. Come. Anybody? Tina, are you the only one in here who has seen our video, or not our videos, but our foraging ones?
Rose has left.
Rose left. She probably would have gotten it.
Yeah, Rose would have got it, I'm pretty sure.
It's not a blueberry. It's a berry that you can get this time of year.
No, it's not rose hips. I don't know. I think you got one that was hard.
Oh, boy. That might be too hard.
Spruce. Elderberry. You're getting close.
There's a couple names for this tree at this.
Juniper. Oh, Tina got it. Juniper back there.
Juniper. Oh, good. Yes. Juniper or red cedar.
Yeah, red cedar is what a lot of people call it cedar around here, or juniper. So those are small wild juniper berries. They're actually picked last week. They're right here again. Yeah, so we had, we have a bunch of junipers in back. Some of them fruit, some don't. Some get some pretty nice sized berries. It was getting hard to find some. I had run out. I had a bag that had been around for a year or two. They last a long time when they're dried. And yeah, Bella's been quite fussy, but she should be in bed usually right now. But she was still up, so she's still here. Well, my mom knew what it was. Yeah. So I went to collect juniper berries because I was out. Unfortunately, with the snow and finding ones that were at the right height as well as available, and I think the deer and some squirrels and some of the animals are probably starting to get at them. We have enough snow cover that they're scrambling a little more for some food. But we did pick some juniper berries. part of the reason I needed juniper berries, I'm just scrolling down here, is, what's the next picture? Oh, that's some bread. That's some semolina bread, so Italian style sourdough semolina. And then here, we made a bunch of sausage this week. I was working with one of the guys that works with me, and we took the day aside from our pasta work to work on venison sausage that had been cleaned and heavy cubed and frozen until we had the opportunity to make sausage, which was Tuesday. So we spent the day. We made 3 types of sausage at request of those that had procured the deer. That is summer sausage. So that's a traditional summer sausage. It's mostly venison with some pork to up the fat. That was cut in with, it has a lot of onion powder and dry mustard and such like that. And it's a cooked style sausage, and it's hot smoked. You can cold smoke or hot smoke it. That is in a beef middle-sized casing. So it's about 2 feet long, about 3 inches around. That is a cellulose artificial casing that's smokable. And then it was hot smoked to temperature, and you can eat it like any other summer sausage. Slice it and eat it cold, or I guess you could fry it up if you want. So
the next one?
Yeah.
That's also smoked.
That is also hot smoked. That is a hunter sausage. So hunter sausage may typically be pork sausage, and it would be cooked or hot smoked or cold smoked, usually hot smoked, so that it is also ready to eat, and you could take a link or two in your pocket when you're hunting, and it gives you something to eat when you're out on a cold fall or winter day hunting. So this is venison and pork. We didn't use all pork because we had the venison. We added, did that have the juniper in it?
Which one had the juniper? The little one or the?
Put in the summer? No, we made the summer of the fresh. We made a fresh sausage in a sheep casing.
That was this one you're making, or he's making.
That's Dave making.
That's Dave
Yeah,
making it.
He's learned. He's never cased. He never cased with fresh sausage before. Fresh casings, or really done a lot of this, so we were teaching him. But yeah, so that's it. That was dinner that night. So that was raw, and we just pan cooked it, and a little fresh bread and German mustard. We had some Dusseldorf mustard and baked potato and sour cream and some lemon wedges. Really, really simple, classic combination. I think the juniper was in that one. So that was a traditional venison sausage, so a game sausage. Then we did a hog casing. This is a hog casing. This turned out bright red. And the hunter sausage had some nice whole coriander in it, which is kind of lemony or citrusy. And we added in, there's a bunch of mustard seed. We did add a little bit of hot chili flake, but it's a low amount. And then we added in, what else? I think there's a little bit of clove or allspice, like some light, almost pickling spice type stuff in it. And that came out really, really good. They're bright red. They're fully cooked. So we split some of those up and ate some of those. Yeah, what else? I don't know. What else do you want
to? That's unless you went through. Yeah, that's about it.
No, we didn't.
Go back. Unless you skip some.
Yeah, that's not even kielbasa. That's summer sausage that you marked kielbasa.
Well,
I guess that was mac and cheese, which was on our website for the business yesterday. We'd made some mac and cheese. I had some cheese sauce that was ready, frozen, and that was a quick meal when we were busy. I think Thursday or Friday night. And yeah, I think that's kind of
back to the webcam then. Top of the list.
Yeah, I'm going back here.
And hi.
So, would you recommend a grain mill attachment for a KitchenAid mixer? I have never used one, and so I think I've heard of people using some of the ones for the KitchenAid and say that they work pretty well, but I've never used them. I have a little stone mill that I bought on auction or used really, really cheap. that I still haven't used that has the same purpose. They're usually $200 to $300 for one of those. So I think you're probably a little cheaper using the KitchenAid one. It's probably going to process a little less product. What I did notice when I was looking at, if you want a universal grain mill that'll grind everything from coarse cornmeal down to fine flour, it's very hard to find one that will dial in the different grits for you nicely and get one that will consistently do bread flours that give you a consistent grind, especially at the finer amounts. That you may not, if you're going to do a lot of bread, get one that focuses on the fineness of the flour. If you're doing one that you want to grind some other things, make sure that it has the variability to get some larger grind. The other thing you can do is a lot of the natural health food co-ops and stuff sell grain, and either organic or regular grain, and they have a mill right there, and they will mill it. You can mill it in the store into your bag, and then take it home and make bread. If you want fresh milled grain, and then you don't have to pay for it. You just pay whatever the price is for the little grain project. But yeah, I don't know a lot firsthand, but it should work. I do make pappardelle. I make thin pappardelle. I make a thicker egg pappardelle, and then our egg dumpling noodles, which are like 1-inch wide chips and extra thick. That's based off of an extra thick custom egg noodle die that I have, and then I have a malfadine, or like a lasagna rippled edge pappardelle that we don't make a lot, but I have some of those in frozen and some of them in fresh. So yeah, I love pappardelle. I'm not a big fettuccine fan. I find it kind of boring. I like kind of all the rest of them, the linguine and the pappardelle. So yeah, I definitely got that. Miranda, yeah, Miranda knows where to find some. And we just made fresh egg pappardelle and packed it this last week. You're transitioning into a whole food kitchen. Transitioning seems to be the popular thing to do these days, Tina. 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 So you're transitioning into a Whole Foods kitchen. Yeah, and that's probably the best way to eat. Not worrying about so much about what you eat, from what I understand, but taking out the refined food. Well, you have to be a little quieter.
That's not going to help. She's only
Well, you're going to have to take out another room then.
I'm working on it.
But yeah, getting away from processed food and making it the least processed. One, it's maybe somewhat about staling of product, but it's probably more about all the salt and sugar and other additives that get buried in there that you just don't notice. So that way you can choose what you add into it, and you can, So whole food, working with whole fruits, whole vegetables, whole grains, and cooking your food as much as possible, even though you can do lots of crock pot and other things. Doesn't always work, but if the majority of your food is whole food, fresh or frozen, you are probably eating pretty well, and you don't have to get too excited about getting overrun with how much protein, fat, carbs, extremeness, or calorie counting. That is important, I guess, at times, but it seems to work pretty good. We also had, I think there was one more picture that I might have skipped. I don't know if this was from last month. This might have been last month, because it's right at the end of the list. That was some venison beef meatloaf blend with some braised red cabbage, sweet and sour braised red cabbage that I made. Ground beef that we ground early pandemic when we bought some large cuts of beef and ground some beef before the prices went up, and then we blended in venison that we ground, and I think there's some bulk Italian sausage or chorizo. I put some chorizo in there that I made maybe almost 2 years ago, and then we added our usual carrot and onion and celery and ketchup and Worcestershire and all the good stuff, mustard. But that came out really nice, speaking of meatloaf. Yeah, getting away from box food. I mean, we don't eat a strictly anything diet. We don't eat out much these days, I guess. We never ate out a lot, but we'll buy commercial pizza. We'll get a commercial burger now and then. We obviously grow some of our food. We buy some of our food from the market. We definitely eat some refined food. We made mac and cheese, Um, I sometimes will buy a kit or a starter kit, more like to finish, like a bulk kit of something, and then I'll add to it. But we're usually adding some component, and we trend towards whole foods and organic when it's available and cost effective, but we're not a stickler on it. We've been buying organic milk and with DHA and fish oils and stuff, DHA and EPA and vitamin D, which is now available in milk for Bella, which seems to be strong evidence that the extra specialty oils are quite important for brain development and other things, and so that's on the market and not overly pricey. So we're doing organic, and we're sometimes buying things like organic berries because they seem to be some of the heavy sprayed stuff. So yeah. Chicken plucker for Valentine's Day. We got a chicken plucker last year. Yeah, we did. That's nice. What kind did you get? You waited till almost the end to tell us you got a chicken plucker.
Who's that?
Tina.
Yeah.
She's getting all these useful things. Hopefully you're not raising too many of those little bantams. That'll take a lot of plucking and not a lot of meat. So was it Tina that won the?
Yes.
So we'll have to send Tina some more pasta.
Yes.
We can send her some specialty stuff. Or if she feels she's pasta overloaded, she can gift it either to her friends near and far or, yeah. So anyways, let us know. Or we can do, what else? Did you have the alternative? Usually we have an alternative to pasta.
I did not, because we haven't done a video on the thing that could have been an alternative.
Oh, okay. So there's something coming up that maybe soon. Some other time.
Month,
Yardbird. Yeah, we got a Yardbird too last year. We got it right before pandemic, pretty much stripped out all the Yardbirds. We were on probably the last of them. They seem to be the go-to. My mom says very romantic. Did you ask for it? It was an inspired gift. 20 chickens coming in at the end of the month. That'll be good. Tina will take the pasta. All right, yeah, just email me and let me know what you want. We'll get it out to you. Get it out this week, I believe. Yeah. Chef's choice. All right, well, I'll get you some fun stuff then. We've got, yeah, the Yardbird for the price. What was it? $200 some, or was it more than? I think it was more than that. I think it was like they're a little pricey. It comes with a big motor. Is it 300 and some? We sold our rototiller, which we haven't used in 2 years. It was used, but a heavy duty and in good shape. Sold the rototiller, bought the chicken plucker. I think the chicken plucker was very slightly more expensive than the rototiller. But one is getting used and one was not. So you can get some other fancier ones, but now you're getting into $1,000, $1,500. You're getting into commercial stuff that you might be using monthly or weekly. So $429. Okay, so it was probably $399. All right, it was approaching $400. So it does come nice and packed up. It works pretty well. It defeathers quite well. I haven't had much tearing and ripping. It's probably a little tough on a turkey, like a big turkey. I think it might be too small. Because our big birds, it was fine. It plugs into a hose. It tumbles. It's pretty easy to clean up, and we don't really have to sanitize it much, but you can sanitize it down a little bit. And yeah, it definitely speeds it up. I do think that's the most commonly available reasonable price one. You can build some for next to nothing out of washing machines and all. There's a whole lot of videos building some crazy pluckers, but you're gonna put just as much time and energy into it, unless you're really handy and got a lot of spare parts hanging around to build a home chicken plucker. Yeah, so that's a good one. We have a number of friends that have them, and you can process. We've done 30 birds. You could do 100 birds in a day with, you might have 4 or 5 people to help do the whole process, but that will hold up to doing 100 birds in a day, I'm sure.
What would be the next tool on the wish list? What's the next tool on your guys' wish list? Whether it's homestead or otherwise.
Probably a very expensive, large implement with buckets on fronts and back ends that we can dig big holes. It would be probably more fun than our 5 acres could sustainably allow.
Might have to rent that one.
Yeah, farm tractors, bobcats, Kubotas. That's sort of starting in the tens of thousands of dollars, new or maybe even used.
Bella thinks that's funny.
Yeah, we'd like to clear a bunch of trees and cut our property line so that we could run, down the property line so we could run a hot wire down
For pigs.
for pigs. That's probably some chainsaw work and renting or having somebody come in with one of those monster grinder things one time, but don't need to own it.
Somebody put anything on their wish list?
Yeah, Tina, I think there's a lot of use and need for teaching plucking and teaching chicken harvesting and doing it on site, either being an assistant. There was talk, and there are some people who've done it, we kind of kicked it around, of creating mobile chicken pluckers, which would be a full-time job and would probably be fairly energetic, but creating a butcher trailer that would, it seems like, well, you could build it and you could just lease it out. The problem is the cleanup and the repair and all that would be so pricey. And most people, this is the issue, most people get birds cleaned for a few dollars a bird. By the time you get into a few $100s to rent a trailer that would have everything anchored in place and set up for mobile butchery, it would probably be a couple $100s or more for the day, and then clean up and all that. And by the time you did that, the people that do that are the ones that do it enough. They would probably be buying their own equipment. But teaching classes on site or being able to bring key things and a booklet and program and teaching some basic butchery for families kind of starting out, or that have been raising chickens but haven't been doing their own meat chicken harvesting, might be a good niche there. Reasonable amount of work, but not a bad idea. Dehydrator in the yard in the hoop house. Yeah, a dehydrator. We don't dehydrate a lot, but we have a tiny one, cheap one. But I think dehydrators are pretty nice. I guess one thing a nice stone hearth, pizza oven, etc. That would be something we'd like to build at some point, but no timeline on that. We'd need a little more permanent location. So hey, Food Forest. Yeah, so we got yeah, that's interesting. I don't know what other tools and things that people want to put into their collection for usefulness. What we really need is a bigger barn. We need a bigger pole barn or something. I've got a truck and a plow, and we got a few other, not too much outside. We don't have too much of a country lot full of stuff, but we got a couple things outside. So we could use more workspace, more storage. Yeah, workshop big enough to get a vehicle and plow in there and not have it in the way of doing other projects. That's a neat project.
Any wish list things for the kitchen? Or home kitchen, not business kitchen.
Yeah, I think you get $20 or $25 per person to teach. It might be an interesting one. It might be, you might talk to Boy Scout or Girl Scout or Combined Scouts or whatever they're doing now. Troops, they might be into it. I don't know. That might be too wild. That might be too on the edge these days. But that might be a. I don't know. They probably have a chicken butchery badge or something. But you might get something at wilderness camps or day camps. And I know killing animals is hard for, but that might be something. But I think teaching at $20 or $25, getting a small group and doing that would be worth it if you enjoy it and it just covers your costs. Mudroom and pantry, yeah, we don't have much of a pantry here. We have under a stairway. It's a pseudo pantry. Yeah, 4-H. A A lot of people on 4-H do it, but amazingly, a lot of people around here have commercial. It's either pet animals or they have commercial farm, but they don't have the in the middle where they're actually processing or doing. So, yeah, I bet 4-H. Of course, that's a lot about raising, but once you raise, I guess 4-H is very even-handed because they auction off the animals, and everybody understands the purpose. For the majority of the animals, is either for breeding or for going to feed us. So that would be interesting if you have a curriculum and a setup and safety. I think you get more than $20 a person, but maybe do some groups, do a little few-hour thing. We saw a rabbit butchering demonstration at the First Homesteaders of America. It was a guy from Michigan.
I think he went to the second one.
He did too, yeah, he did too. He goes out with his family, does it with his kids, and he has the whole setup. And he has one little device that he sells that helps skin them, I think, faster. It holds the legs or something. Or no, maybe it's for the cull. He has a device that helps hold them in a position.
Breaks the neck.
It breaks her neck cleanly and without causing a bloody mess or excessive harm. So, but he did a live. First, he talked about raising rabbits, meat, the quality, and why they're good. Why they're such a good all-around item. They're safe and easy to work with. And then he goes, "I'm going to show you how to quickly process, even quicker than a chicken." And he just simply said, "Anybody wants to leave the demonstration before we do it? You can do it now, and we're going to do it." And they did a full, cull and skinning and quick portioning, which only took 10 or 15 minutes. It's pretty quick. So he did that live in a demo. So I think there's some promise there for those type of things. All right, what else is going on? Anybody else got stuff? Plans for anybody do anything for Super Bowl or Valentine's or
other than get a plucker for Valentine's?
Yeah. Trying to think what else. You haven't ordered seats yet, have you?
Oh my goodness, no. I have a few more to make sure. We have most of our seeds, probably plenty, but there's probably just a few things we need to order this year. But I have to, and sorry I'm off screen. I have Bella here. I have to just go through my last ones and see which ones we're low on and get that order in. And I meant to do it 2 months ago.
Yeah. Do rabbits really scream? I've always thought that was a misnomer, but we haven't had rabbits.
That one made a squeak.
Well, yeah, you can have a little.
It was only when they push the air out of the lungs, though.
Yeah.
It's like a chicken. If you push the air out of the lungs, it'll make a noise.
Waiting for Earth Day. Yeah, more sleep. Yeah, I have plowed a bunch this week. Not as much as some years. We got a pressure canner. I got a pressure canner for Christmas. I haven't touched it. It's still in the box. Yeah, we have a pressure canner. We have a regular canner. All the lid popped off. The handle for the lid came undone on that. I probably just need to find a new screw for it. I've used it a few times now. I have a 5 horsepower meat grinder. If you can ever get your hands on one of those at a reasonable price, and you're ever grinding fresh meat or grinding animal feed or making sausage, that's a nice one up. But that's a kind of a serious investment. I got really lucky and found a really nice used one in the $500 range, and it probably should have been in the $1,000 to $1,200 range for it. So that was a pretty nice find, but that's sort of a luxury item. You got to use it enough, and we do. We're using it, and it will be good for the duration. It doesn't take enough abuse. It hopefully will probably never break for us. Yeah, we haven't kept rabbits, so. Ham and bean soup. I finished some frozen ham and bean soup this week that had been in the freezer, and chicken.
That you made.
That I made. And we made some chicken soup at the beginning of the week, and that's finished. Put some gramigna pasta in that, which had been laying around. And yeah. Camping outside all this month. Wow, that's good. 17 night.
Who's that?
No heat, no fire. Temps averaging -4. Wow.
Celsius.
Harvey Black. That's
Celsius or Fahrenheit?
Oh, -4 Fahrenheit.
Wow.
Yep. That's
Wow.
pretty. I had a friend who built his old Jeep Cherokee, the old not the Cedar, the old original Cherokees. They stopped making in about 2000. He tore out the seats, hand built roller drawers, put in a marine battery, got a cooler that was electric cooler, put a panel on top, put a solar panel on top, and he lived on friends' property and camped out and a variety of stuff for, I'd say, a good year. He did winter over on his friend's property, and I'm not sure if he hung out their house some, but he went a good part of a year doing that. And he was paying off bills and just kind of bugging out for a while. So, yeah, that's pretty intense, especially doing 17 nights, tent, sleeping bag, no heat, no fire. Wow. I know your body gets used to it, but God, I mean, what's...
You do also have some really good sleeping bags.
Yeah, no, you got to have good equipment. You can't
Clothes.
just do that. You obviously end up in bad shape.
Hypothermic if you're not careful.
Who was... Well, there's a guy that we were listening to some podcasts, and he used to swim. He'd do like Ironman swims and open water swims. And he would swim until he would get out of the water, and he was so cold when he got out of the water, and San Diego, that he couldn't pick up his towel, and he would have to ask a stranger running in the morning on the beach. Occasionally, he had to pick up the towel and put the towel. Was it San Francisco? Yeah. And he was doing long, like 2 and 3 mile deep water, open water swims, I think mostly by himself, which seems nuts. But
I think that was a race that he was, that talk did was a open water race.
Yeah, but he did trainings for that, which is, obviously when you're out in the ocean and getting really cold is tough, but I know you can train your body for it. Made coconut and oat bran muffins. That sounds good. You can send some of those this way. Add different fruits and berries. No recipe. Yeah, that sounds great. Really, I did not know my sister was doing the adventure thing. She's at a dude ranch. Well, we did dog sledding. We are going to go... we're going to go up north at some point in March.
In the Upper Peninsula.
Yeah, we're going to go to the UP, where I haven't been for a while. I worked on Mackinac Island and went to the UP, technically occasionally to St. Ignace, but not much beyond that year. So we're going to go about halfway across the UP and get a cabin in the middle, mostly snowmobile land, for a few days. And we will have heat, I think.
Yes.
We'll probably do some outdoor stuff. However...
it is bear country up there, so we have to be careful. Deb was chased by a bear up there.
Yeah, there are some bears. They'll probably be hungry. We probably won't be doing much hiking and stuff because we've got Bella, between the rigor of it and keeping her warm and
dog
happy. Well, we'll bring the dog, but the dog cannot. The Great Dane cannot go on the walks unless they're short. Yeah. So we're going to do a little bit of up north and do an end of winter, which can be nice. Might be getting a little bit of thaw, but there should be a good base up there. I don't know what snowfall has been this year. It was very low early on, but so that's going to be our outdoor adventure. But that's about as far as it goes. No outdoor camping. Yeah. I went and burned the cardboard boxes a week ago. Actually, that was right before our first snow started setting. We had a dusting of snow. I burned the boxes, and an hour after that, it started snowing really heavy, and they're covered up 2 hours later. Just burning all the excess cardboard. Did you make your muffins with oil or butter or like Crisco or lard, or what was your fat source? So flake and tenderness and moistness has a lot to do with your fat, as well as the flour, but mostly the fat, more so. Really hearty chicken and dumpling recipe with hard dumplings, not the soft biscuit. So I do the thick pressed noodles, and we call them dumpling noodles in the form of like a German style dumpling noodle. And they get, but they don't puff up. So that might work. Jamaicans make dumplings that are a thick flour dumpling that can be a little chewy and maybe not all the way cooked in the middle, sometimes a little bit hydrated. They also sometimes add a little bit of small portion of cornmeal to them, and they either make them and you hand roll them into these kind of logs, um, and they're a little more tender, or you can what was commonly referred to as man dumplings because they were tough and chewy, and some of the women were complaining about them. When I worked with a whole bunch of Jamaicans, they would be round like donut style, and those had the cornmeal on there, really meant to be a major sustenance item in your gravy and your sauce. And there was kind of pinched in the middle, so a little smaller in the middle, a little bigger on the outside. And you would boil them for the last hour or more in your thick soup. So if you're doing like a brown stew, so you might have chunks of meat and onions and carrots and whatever else. You might put corn in there, pieces of corn, and then you'll have all these big, thick, heavy, almost chewy dumplings, and they actually are quite nice, quite filling, very traditional sustenance food. That'll keep you warm. Eating a brown stew with those dumplings and some meat and root vegetables will hold you in cold weather. Avocado oil, grass-fed butter, coconut oil. Okay, so butter, yeah, butter does. So typically your oils will stay moister because at room temperature they'll stay liquid. They're locked in that matrix of flour, and that will give you those super moist. Most of your commercial muffins now, they're so moist, are made with oil. If you make them with butter, they'll be a little drier, like a traditional old style 1960s, 70s muffin, when it was less of a dessert cake and more of a crumbly, a little drier, a little not particularly sweet, maybe lightly sweet, and then maybe the fruit or things that were in it help sweeten it. So those might have been made with butter, but that's and then of course if you use a solid fat like a lard or a Crisco will help the flakiness. So choice of fats will make a difference not only in flavor, but will also make a difference in your moisture. Oh yeah, coconut flour. Yeah, I like coconut flour. I used to put in a few things. There's something we had in Trinidad called coconut bake. It's actually a white bread. You could look it up. It's a white bread dough. It's a yeast dough, but you put a decent amount of coconut flake in there, unsweetened, or if you have fresh coconut, it's got coconut milk in it. So you can make coconut milk by grating coconut, and you wash it 2 to 3 times, and you squeeze it out. And what comes out is a little bit of water and the milk and the fat. So you use some of that, and then you use some of the spent coconut pulp, and you put that into like a white bread, and it's not overly sweet. In fact, I should make that. I haven't made that for a while. And they call it bake or coconut bake, and it's, well, bake may or may not have coconut in it. Very tasty Caribbean. 30% each of the fats. Okay. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. If it works, do it again. Write it down. Do it again. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna have to take the little one to bed here. She's falling asleep with my arms off to the side.
All right.
So I am gonna say goodnight to people. You got the ending of the stream on both places?
I think so.
Okay. Sounds good. I'm gonna say goodnight, you guys. Nice to have you here. We'll see you next month.
Yeah, so we will plan to be back, and I can hang out for a couple minutes if people have other questions or such, but I can, yeah, I can do that. But next month we will be back the first Sunday of the month. Yes, I know it was Super Bowl last week. I did not watch it. I was actually doing other stuff. Sometimes watch it, but just wasn't really interested. Had other things to do, but Cindy was out of town. Seeing her parents and such, so she had gone across the state, and so we decided to delay and ended up on Valentine's. Cool. We'll check out that. Yeah, everybody go see Food Forest Permaculture's muffin video. He's got a bunch of neat stuff going on always, and I will do that myself. Oh, the other thing. So, and then we saw the Rhodes premiere today, and they had their live live release of that, so that'll be an ongoing episode on their, I guess, their whole quest over the last 5 or 6 or more years. And the other thing we've been watching, I don't know if Cindy talked about it much. She's been watching a lot of Talisman, which is a Swedish homestead. They live in an old summer um, milkmaid's cabin, which is a log cabin, and they're pretty North Sweden, so it's pretty much aspen or birch tree and pine tree. It looks a lot like the Upper Peninsula in Michigan and tundra, and so they've been living for 8 or 9 years now on rebuilding this milkmaid's cabin, and they're getting more and more livestock, and they have a Patreon and YouTube, and it's very primitive, extremely primitive. They have family that live about a mile or so into town, and they have a young baby now too. So it's probably approaching a year old. So it's in English and very nice cinematography, and it's crazy looking land because they're so far north. But if you want to see very primitive, pretty cold weather, year-round living in a, I don't know, 300 square foot, I think it is, log cabin, and then they've actually lifted the log cabin over a couple of years and added one of the cabins and added more height to it and a whole bunch of projects. A lot of it's handwork, hand carving of things. Trying to have your broody hens raise the chicks to feathered. Yeah, we've done that. We've had a pretty good results with that. Cindy did get for Christmas. She asked for it. I got her an incubator, which we borrowed one once, but I don't think we used it. We do have an incubator to kind of hurry things up and not wait for broodies to try and get some earlier chicks and have a little more flexibility, but we still plan to put some on and have them naturally raised. Seed exchange, February 22nd. Where is the seed exchange? Or is that National Seed Exchange? I assume that's National Seed Exchange. I didn't have that on my radar, but I think I've seen that previously. Yeah, so we have our garden. We're doing a little less in the gardens. It was hard last year. My work is so busy, and with Bella, we're having to scale back the time to kind of a minimum of what we can. Low heirloom permaculture. We're kind of getting close to wrapping up, but we're here for a few minutes if you got questions or want to hang out. So we're kind of starting to minimize our garden a little bit because time-wise, crunch just to get stuff in fast enough so we can grow what we can and not be running too late on it. We have our greenhouse from those videos are still up and running. Cindy built a fairly sizable raised frame that is running. She didn't take pictures of that. We have been running 30, mid 30s, I want to say, in the hoops. It's unheated greenhouse, and then the raised bed with a little plastic over it. I think it's holding about 38 most of the time consistently, so we're doing pretty well on that. Don't have much growing in there right now, waiting for some stuff to germinate. And I've got 6 or 7 apple trees, heirloom apple trees, and other stuff coming in the spring. So we need to find a way to get some trees down, and I don't know how that's going to happen. I've been trying to do that for 3 years so we can make some more room for the apple trees. Take down some of the locusts and just clear them. They're great firewood and they're fine, but we need to bring in some more fruit nut trees in some of those areas. So I don't know if we're going to get to that this spring. It seems doubtful, but maybe. So, yeah. All right. Anything else going on before we head out? Give it another minute, and then we're probably going to sign off. Our internet signal seems to have cooperated tonight. We had I don't know, maybe our internet company has improved. We had a lot of new houses built over the last year just down the road from us. I think kind of screwed stuff up, so maybe they're sorting it out. Well, yeah, so the apple trees we have were here earlier. I think they're just some commercial whatever, some red and green apples. Planted too close. Secluded by some oak trees that have gotten quite large. And they haven't been very well kept. They're just in a bad spot, and the small amount of fruit we got, they're not great. So they're not great value. If we'll keep them there. But yeah, I've got the oldest good eating cider apple known in the United States. I forget the name. I got one of those, but I hear it's still actually decent. And I got 4 other heirloom apples at least, and a couple other things. I think Cindy got me a few things too. So those are going to go in. We'll put those probably in the front yard and try and take care of them a little better. Although we really don't spray them much, so I know we're going to have to see what we can get out of fruit. Minus 25. Minus 25 wind chill. Yeah, we've had some cold nights. We've been down to single digits and wind chills below that. I don't know if we've gotten that cold yet, but the last 2 or 3 weeks have been. Coconut pancakes. Yeah, the polar vortex is coming a little below us. So I was saying we keep getting clipped with snow, but we get it on the lower end because that snow wet air interface is actually hitting a little south into Indiana. So we're catching like 3 or 4 inches when some areas are getting a foot. So we have not had more than 3 or 4 inches. It's so cold the last week, we're getting light powdery snow. I plowed this morning because we got a little snow last night. Could have plowed last night, but I didn't. Yeah, we got our peaches and our cherries and all that stuff went in a little over a year ago, year and a half ago. They're doing fine, but it'll be a little bit before we see how they yield. Pancakes, back to the pancakes. Use a high gluten or a bread flour. Well, that will increase some of it, but that can also make it harder, especially if you overmix it, tougher. So maybe that's a bad idea. Use more eggs. That's the issue. So eggs are egg whites, whether it's a meringue or just in there, they're a structural binder. Egg yolks are an emulsifier and thickener. And so yes, up your eggs as long as you're eating eggs. Use more egg. And that will solve your problem. Actually, one of the deals between a pancake and a waffle has more eggs. Typically, if you're making a scratch. So eggs is the key to almost everything in baking, other than technique and mixing and overmixing and fat use. Eggs. I saw 9 inches in Detroit. So we had nothing on the forecast. Our forecasts have been all goofy, and they don't want to ever tell you anything until the day before. I saw rumors yesterday of this new storm shooting across, and this thing that's hitting all the way from the Gulf, clipping the lower part of Michigan. They said, well, it may move further east and not hit us at all, but will probably hit us. And then today I saw that it should come right across our area up to Grand Rapids, probably 2 to 4 inches of snow. We may get a little lake effect, and then it will kind of increase on a northerly path. And yeah, it will probably hit Detroit, and they may get even a reasonable bit more than we get. So we are looking at that Monday, late Monday evening into Tuesday, probably. Yeah. You can't use wheat. Okay, so it's falling apart because you're having a hard time because you do need a little gluten for binding. So up your eggs. Alternatively, you can add things such as flaxseed and methyl cellulose. Is that what it is? Methyl cellulose that gets used in there? Xanthan gum. So xanthan gum or guar gum if you are into using either one of those. But eggs will cover most of it. Flax seeds are a semi-egg replacer, but you don't need them if you get enough eggs. And that will help overcome your alternative flours that yeah, almond flour is pretty nice. No gluten in it, but it's got good flavor and it's got nice fat. So blending some almond flour isn't a big deal. Duck eggs or goose eggs, they give you a nicer crumb and texture, soft texture. They would probably be just fine. I'm not sure if they'd make it better or worse, but they would be just fine. So I wouldn't shy away. Just do it by weight or volume. Your average duck egg is probably about 2 chicken eggs. Yeah. Hemp seed hull seem to help a little. Yeah, hemp seeds. So a lot of flax seeds have a lot of lecithin in it. You can also buy natural lecithin, which is an emulsifier. There's lecithin in eggs, and that's one of the binders. That's part of what helps hold mayonnaise together. Going back to mayonnaise and binding that. Um, Hemp seed has some of those properties. Of course, the hemp seeds tend to be a little bit big, but you got to puree them. So it may be somewhat helpful. Um, but yeah, eggs are good for you too. It's hard. So there was somebody who had a gluten-free bakery here for a while, and they'd be like, "Well, why don't you not use eggs? You can just replace with flaxseed and stuff." And it's like when you remove the gluten out and you're using alternative flours and starches and purees and things, and then and then you have to also remove eggs. It's almost impossible to cook. It's so hard because you're removing such strong structural elements in baking. It's just, yeah, it's kind of a no-go, one or the other, if you have a dietary need. You can also add in, sometimes some fibrous things can really help, like adding a little bit of applesauce, a little bit of nut butters, although that tends to have a lot of fat. Um, Black bean purees, do a lot of that with brownies and things, and that you can cover up. You can cover up removing a lot of refined fats. We had a recipe that used semi-sweet chocolate chips, cocoa, black beans. I don't know what else was in there. It had, I think, no flour in it. It had eggs in it. Actually made a pretty good brownie. They were a little light on the sweetness. They were sweet, but they were minimally sweet. The chocolate chips helped a lot. It had a generous amount of chocolate chips, so you got hits of sweetness and higher quality chocolate, and using good cocoa powder. But you can play with some of those purees, apple butter, and whatever. Uh-huh. Huh. I'm not sure. Yeah, the coconut flour is mostly starch. I think they've pretty much extracted all the fat because it's a byproduct of the higher cost desirable coconut fat coming out. So it really doesn't hold together at all. It's just fiber and filler and flavor. So it's a tough sort of a flour, but it's not really used as a flour. Yeah, you can use almond butter for almond butter is part of your fat protein intermix, especially in brownies, which tend to be chewy and don't have to be so airy and cakey. Um, Definitely can do that. I don't do a lot of those. I have some good books, but I don't do a lot of the substitutional baking. I guess I don't bake a lot right now because I'm awfully busy, but so there's other people that can point you directly to the best option, but I know they do work. I know the general directions for things. Um, yeah, black bean brownies, a chalkboard. I think you have a bad recipe, Tina. The black beans themselves, yeah, I think it needs more fat, or there's other components. You can make a black bean brownie that's pretty good. So I think you got a bad recipe. And the reason that you can use um, black beans don't have a particularly strong beanie flavor. They also have a very soft, pleasant texture that's one of the most creamy textures of beans. Of course, they're very dark in color, so it needs to be something you can cover it up. So that's where the cocoa works well. Chickpeas are the other one. Canned chickpeas um, also have a very near neutral flavor. So you can, and they have a lighter color. So you can blend in chickpeas. There's a tremendous amount of lecithin in beans. That binding and whipping mixture. So you can use them, and you actually can take the bean water, especially if you get the bean water that's pretty much unsalted, and you can whip bean water, chickpea water in a mixer just like egg whites, and the lecithin will stretch out and it'll form a meringue. It's called aquafaba. Um, and you can sugar it, or you can use that as a binder and a lighten and lift it as a non-egg aerator. Um, Actually once played with and actually cooked it and set it up like meringue just to see if it would work. So just pour off the water either from cooking your chickpeas or even from the canned chickpeas. You can use other beans, but some of those start to taste kind of beany. And I find the chickpeas, especially with sugar on top or vanilla and things in it, you take out most of that bean flavor. So that playing with aquafaba, you can find lots of recipes using aquafaba as a replacer that kind of hit hard moving into 10 years ago, I think. Was a range where people got really involved in playing with aquafaba. So that's a good one. All right. Well, it is looking like it's 10:30, so I am going to call it a night and say good night, and we'll see you in a few weeks, and enjoy all the snow and bake some crazy stuff. Don't use grains. Yeah. Well, they're selling a keto pancake. Is it paleo keto? I think keto pancakes at our Costco. I have never bought it. I haven't looked at the ingredients. It's commercial. A lot of these commercial things, they subtract out the stuff that you don't want, and they put so much junk back in that you don't want that it doesn't solve any problems. But there are some keto pancakes on the market, and I know they have a cut rate mega box at Costco if it meets your needs. And but yeah. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, have a good night. Let us know what's coming out on those. Those sound fun. I haven't had time to mess with most of those type of items, but when they're good, and some of them not so good, right? But yeah, put good ingredients in and cover up the neutral flavors with some nice fresh fruit and dehydrated fruit and nuts, and you're probably into something that's not only nutritionally tasty but is actually quite enjoyable. So, alrighty, thanks. Food Forest Permaculture. Tina, I will get a email out to you, send you 2 bags of pasta. And Miranda, I'll see you in the morning. And Linda Taylor's been hanging out. And my mom may or may not still be here. And everybody else.